Thank you, Dr. Barton.
I could ask a quick question. It has nothing to do with the vote. On the use of school district facilities, some of these are upcoming and some of these have already transpired. Is there any reason why these weren't brought to our attention? Was it an exigency that required you to do it right away, or what's going on with that?
Well, the process that we have for use of school facilities involves the site first going through their calendars and approving the use, and then by the time they approve it and get it into our contracts department, get it on here, in some cases the use has already occurred. In some cases the user has repetitive use, and neither the site nor the user realizes that their contract has run out, and they will send in a check, and then our contracts will say, well, you only had it through that date, and then they process another one in order to be able to receive their check that they pay us for the use of facilities. It is a process that we're working on streamlining, but it's one that occasionally involves ratifications because it involves a lot of uses, in many cases relatively minor uses of facilities.
And sometimes things are just another facility may have fallen out and they've come to the school district to ask for support.
And that I can understand, but it seems to me that things like repetitive uses are things that we're aware of, and we should be, able to discuss those things and talk about them. There's nothing of concern on the item here, but it just seems like we should be looking at these things ahead of time, since ultimately we're accountable for what actions and events take place.
Are we ready to move on to business department report? Let's do so.
I move approval.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Superintendent's items.
Before we do superintendent's items, Mr. President, I would defer to Dr. Cortez. I believe he's ready.
Yes.
So if that's okay.
I apologize, Dr. Cortez. We got carried away up here. Welcome.
Productive business, that's important.
Let's talk about the health of our children's teeth.
Let's do that. Very appropriate on Halloween night to do this. But it's important enough that we're going to do this. I hope that you can see this. But it's important enough that we're going to do this. I hope that you can see this the wall. We're going to improvise a little bit this evening. Let me introduce myself. I'm Santos Cortez, a pediatric dentist here in Long Beach for many, many years. I'm also immediate past president of the California Society of Pediatric Dentistry. I am chairman of the board of the Miller Children's Hospital Advisory Board, and also a long-standing member of the Harvard Dental Society. And I appreciate the opportunity to come before you this evening to present some information that's relevant to our children, our school children, our school district, as well as our community. So I really appreciate this. I promise I won't take more than about 10 minutes to present this information. And then hopefully if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer after these presentation. I will start off by saying that the problem of dental disease in our community is very, very high. We, in comparison to national averages, are not meeting the goals of the People 2010 guidelines. And because of that, about 3 years ago, we decided that we were going to provide and conduct a study of our school children here in the city of Long Beach. And so we did what's called now the Long Beach Smile Survey, which studied kindergartners and third graders as being, those ages being a milestone in a child's life. Of course, we studied the children in the Long Beach Unified School District. This study was completed in 2005, utilizing a randomized approach for the elementary schools, so that we would have the schools that perhaps had students that wouldn't need a whole lot of dental treatment, and schools that may have a lot of need. We had calibrated dental screeners, including DDSs and RDAs. And we also collaborated with a statewide program by the Dental Health Foundation, which then examined about 200,000 children in the state of California.
Suzie.
The study showed that after studying about 1,600 children, which included about 816 kindergartners and the rest were third graders, and utilizing 12 elementary schools in our district, we also utilized standardized forms to keep the data very valid and to have it be a credible data. We used the local health professionals, which were calibrated to do the examinations and the screenings. And the funding was provided by local stakeholders, including the Dental Society and the local Miller Children's Hospital and the California Dental Association, as well as the Miller Foundation. The results were these. About three-quarters of our third graders did have experienced tooth decay. And by that I mean that they either had existing dental disease or they had already gone to the dentist to have the dental disease treated. Unfortunately, over 50% of our kindergartners also exhibited the same disease. And those are cavities, those are abscesses, that's gum disease. And tragically, about 1/3 of the children that we examined, 28% in fact, exhibited untreated dental disease, And I'll show you a photograph of some of the presentations that we saw at some of the schools. And ultimately, we had 5% of our children that needed immediate treatment. These are children who need immediate treatment because they've got an abscess, they've got pain, they can't sleep in the evening. So 5% of our population that we studied. If we do the math in our school district, that amounts to about 700 children who are in that category. These are some of the presentations. These are some of the dental disease that we saw in some of the school children. These kids have very difficult time in chewing. And that's exhibited by the fact that the food is rather being incised in the front of the mouth, it's put back to where it's a little bit more comfortable. So the kids are in pain, they have infection, which may lead to something called cellulitis. And the cellulitis is a very difficult infection to treat. It needs to be treated in a hospital situation with IV antibiotics and fluids. It's usually about a 3-day course. This dental disease can be very costly to restore once it starts. And so we'll talk a little bit about the impact that it has on our children, in our community, in our schools as well. Extraction of some of these teeth would have to then perhaps lead to orthodontic treatment, which again is more expensive. And now we're talking about children that are typically in the poor children, the children that don't have access to dental care, kids who have dental insurance, etc., or whose parents have the means to obtain the dental services. They're typically well taken care of. So we're talking about the majority that have no access to dental care.